The number one biggest change was the funnel. You give me the framework for it, and I went and just, it's pretty much a copy and paste. That was night and day difference. And the reason that was so important is because before I was running something that, like, as much as I want to think of myself as a digital marketer, like, truly, I'm not a digital marketer, but you guys know marketing very well. And so the biggest difference with the funnel was that before I was running kind of a sloppy, anyone can kind of get in the door. When I switched over to the new funnel, what that did is that filtered out a lot of people that just were not qualified prospects. So now I'm meeting with people that are more of the ideal avatar that I want to meet with. That just made the sales calls and everything a lot easier.
All right. I'm here with Jeff Hanna. Jeff works in the loan and mortgage space and the personal finance space. He's been with us now for, I want to say 7 or 8 months. Um, Great guy, great client. We're really happy to have worked with him and to keep working with him. So yeah, it's good to see you, Jeff.
Good to see you too, man.
Awesome, brother. So I just wanted to ask, like, before you started working with us and Launch Socials, could you just kind of give a general rundown of your thoughts on social media? Like, where were you at? What did you know about building a personal brand or building a brand? Um, and just kind of the general overview there of like where your head was at around this whole online social media space.
Yeah, so I would say it's kind of like the same spot that everyone else is at, where you know that you can and should post. And you know the idea of like, hey, I'm gonna go out and build a personal brand, I'm gonna post content. But really it was more so just shooting from the hip, and I would say disorganized, if anything. So when I first started, I was like, hey, my goal is to just post three a day. And like that was the plan, right? There wasn't any organization or anything about it. And then I guess when I joined, the biggest game changer for me specifically was like actually targeting in on, hey, this is exactly what I should focus on. So maybe instead of just like spraying and praying, now there's a system that I'm following, and there's a direction that I'm actually going versus just kind of, seeing, like, hoping really that something was going to work.
Yeah. And what did you tried before? Had you like worked with anyone else or like bought any courses or done any kind of education on your end to try and figure this out, I guess?
No courses, no education except for just books. So, I've read Dan Kennedy, the typical, direct response marketing books that I'm sure everyone watching this is pretty much read. The Dan Kennedys, the Russell Brunsons. And I think all those things are great, but I think it's kind of the same as watching a YouTube video to get better at golf versus like having an actual coach.
Yeah.
Uh, sure, you could get a little bit better if you're doing those things than just nothing, but one-on-one coaching is always, like, I've always seen the value in that because it's actually someone that you can talk to and like get feedback, especially from people that are doing it at a high level.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And I had watched like all your guys' reviews so many times to make sure, like, you just want to see that. So you're like, okay, like, what about this? What about this? And then you see a review and you're like, oh yeah, that answered that question. Okay.
You did your due diligence, man.
Yeah.
And what would you say has been like the biggest change, in like those first couple months we started working together and I guess now as well, like in terms of what that did for your business and your brand? What was that kind of that biggest change that you saw on your end?
So the number one biggest change was the funnel. That you guys, you give me the framework for it, and I went and just, it's pretty much a copy and paste. That was the biggest change. That was night and day difference. And the reason that was so important is because before I was running something that, like, as much as I want to think of myself as a digital marketer, like, truly, I'm not a digital marketer. So, but you guys know marketing very well. And so the biggest difference with the funnel was that before I was running kind of a sloppy, anyone can kind of get in the door. When I switched over to the new funnel, what that did is that filtered out a lot of people that just were not qualified prospects. So now I'm meeting with people that are more of the ideal avatar that I want to meet with,
Hmm.
especially at like the income level that I want to work with for, the offer that I sell.
Hmm.
Uh, and that just made the sales calls and everything a lot easier. And really, I don't want to say taking an order because it's not, but it was a lot. it was just a lot easier on the sales process once that funnel had been implemented. Obviously, like there was a lot of help with content. Um, but I just remember like as I was switching over to the funnel, like in as those leads started coming through, every time I was like, man, like these are just so much better than what they were 3, 4 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's huge, right? Like,
Hey,
one,
can I say one more? I'm sorry to interrupt
please,
you.
please.
One more thing too is that like Launch Socials is not, I've never thought of it as a course. Like I've always thought of it as like true coaching. And so the other thing that helped a lot, not just the funnel, but was the actual coaching calls and like the weekly calls, because you can go in there and like not even just bouncing ideas off of you guys, but like there's other people in there that you bounce ideas off of. And so it's like when you're surrounded with that, it helped me a lot of like, all right, well, that didn't work. Did that cut out? Are we good?
You're good. You're good.
I was like, okay, well, that didn't work, but this worked. And then I'd get feedback from you or Nick or the other coaches, and it helps like continuously tailor the message that you're trying to get across to the customer.
Right. Yeah. And just really speeds up that process, like that feedback loop, right? Like we've heard this from you, we've heard this from a lot of other guys. It's like, yeah, you probably could have figured this out in a year or year and a half, or made a ton of mistakes, wasted a ton of your time and energy and potentially, financial resources. But with us, it's like we can go in, we can look, hey, here's your biggest problem. Let's fix this and this is where we need to push our time and energy and attention right now.
Yeah.
This is going to yield 80% of the results. So yeah, really, really appreciate that
And
feedback.
and then one more thing was like I already came into this with a small TikTok following, right? But like
Yeah,
I was neglecting Instagram completely. And I was like almost like, I don't want to post on Instagram.
sure.
I didn't post on Instagram until I joined Launch Socials. And then once I joined, I started posting on Instagram. Like it was explosive growth, very, very fast growth. But the best thing about that was that now I could have conversations with people. And I remember I posted this one video. It's so funny. I was going out to dinner on a Saturday night, and I like right before dinner, I posted the video, and it was just a B-roll simple video. And it just like I like posted it, and like 3 minutes later, it was just like already at thousands of views. And I was like, oh crap. So I remember I told my girlfriend, I was like, I wait in the car real quick. I like sprinted upstairs, grabbed my computer, turned on the ManyChat automations, and it was just like I think I had like 100 leads come in from that video over the next 72 hours.
Let's
So
go. Let's go.
versus like on TikTok, I was still getting leads, but like never like that because with the Instagram that you guys, pushed me towards using, it was okay. Now I can like have not only are you just getting people directly to sign up with, get into your funnel, but you can have the conversation with them. And that was oh, sorry about that. That was a big game changer.
100%. Love it, man. So, and I know we've talked, before I started recording. We're going to pivot a little bit. We're going to kind of broaden your brand, go more into general personal finance, stuff like that. Um, where are you at currently, and what would you say are the next, going the next 40 days of this year, going into next year? Where's your head kind of at? How are you going to use what you've learned with us? And obviously, you're going to keep working with us, but what's the direction you see yourself going into now?
Yeah. So, well, income wise, it's kind of that low six-figure range, and I want to be in that high six-figure range, and like really make a lot more recurring revenue,
Mhm.
whether that be from asset management or things like that. But I think the position that I was in was I positioned myself more as a loan guy, and more on loans and not on so much on finance as a whole, like retirement planning, business planning. But I want to move into the direction and pivot towards more so like financial services, not, mortgage officer. Because a lot of times people assume that I like do mortgages, which I don't do mortgages.
Sure.
I'm like anti-mortgage in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, but which is all good. Like if people aren't consuming all the videos, like I get it, that's how I look.
Hmm.
Especially because the company is called Mortgage Free Life. So like the word mortgage is literally in it. But
Yeah.
I want to move in the direction of more of just that financial services direction, and really refine on, who the customer is that I'm working with. It's not that I hate where I'm at whatsoever. I love it, but I just, as time goes on and I learn more, I'm like, okay, I want to keep on refining it to working with that, that higher end client.
Yep.
So, and
100%.
I know we're gonna work on that a lot together, and very very excited for that as well.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Yeah. Get you on YouTube, new content on Instagram. And yeah, bro, I'm excited for it too. Um, if there's one thing that you think we could do better on our end, we always want to hear that feedback. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Put me right on the spot with this. Um, so I would say if if there was and this is like on me too, but we kind of talked about this earlier. If there was more of a understanding of the compliance with my industry on
Sure.
your end, I think that could have helped some things. Same with like understanding that, I work for myself and I'm self-employed, but in financial services, whether it's asset management or insurance or really, wherever you're at, you're a part of a bigger organization a lot of the time. And so like that's what I am a part of a bigger organization.
Yeah.
So I'm still completely independent. Like I do everything on my own, but I work with these companies, my contracts with these companies. And so there's just compliance and hoops that I have to jump through for that.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't really like, I would say I'm probably one of maybe five guys. I don't know exactly how many other people are in my specific industry that are in launch socials, but
Two or three.
yeah, like I would say it'd be like helpful, but for the amount of time it would take to, like get a better understanding of that, I think probably wouldn't be worth it. So I really think all the time though, like you guys do a great job. That's the only kind of thing where I'm like, kind of wish they could understand this and that, but it was not a deal breaker for me. And I had an idea that that was going to be a thing even before I joined too.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. And again, you have an open door to us anytime you need to get on a call and just Joe, Nick, here's what you guys need to know. Here's the things I can or can't say. Just hit me up, hit Nick up, and we'll make sure we get that squared away, man.
Trust me, I wish I could get on there and guarantee things and say certain things because it's funny, like I actually posted a video that describing a concept, and the guys that own the company called me and they're like, hey, that's like really, really illegal to post something like that. And I was like, God. So like trust me, I wish I could guarantee a lot and say all that, but
Yeah,
we don't want the SEC or IRS coming after us.
sir. No, sir. Well, Jeff, thanks again, man, for taking the time to do this. Appreciate you. And yeah, looking forward to continue to work together.
To the man, Joe. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.